I know you guys are probably wondering, and that's one thing in particular. What the hell am I talking about Darlington throwbacks, since we already talked about that like last week, and that's old news. We gotta get on to the recent news. It's All-Star Race weekend. I get that, but I have to say one thing off the bat, guys, and that is that Darlington race that we had for the NASCAR Cup Series, the Goodyear 400. Man, what a finish that was. And to actually show you guys why we're doing this video, I actually encourage you guys to stay, because we're going to be talking about some of the newest pre-orders that are going to be coming out for the 2024 Darlington Throwbacks. So what is up, diecast collectors? This is OBB, the diecast news guy, bringing you all with another one of these cheaply made slideshow videos. But now, for real, man, this is going to be another preview video, which I have noticed you guys actually liked my last previous video, which was about the low CRC cars, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for that support. I mean, that was I thought that was a cool thing to talk about. But now we got to talk about some throwbacks. I mean, I know we're in the season now where we have throwbacks and patriotics. Everyone likes special paint schemes, and all these cars I'm about to show you guys are not guaranteed to make MOQ, which is the minimum order quantity. And another reason why I'm actually going to make this video, because I think that, who knows, maybe I'm hoping this whole point of this video is going to go and encourage you guys to go out and pre-order all these diecasts, including from my good buddies at Spoiler Diecast. So make sure to use the promo code down below so you guys can save some money. Remember, you won't get charged until the diecast gets shipped out, which looks like majority of these that I'm about to show you in a sec are going to be about around like December or something like that. But speaking of the holidays, guys, we got to talk about the one and only Brad Keselowski. He was able to actually not only win in this car, so there's going to be a race-winning diecast of this car, but this throwback is really cool, guys. But can we talk about Brad Keselowski, though? Brad Keselowski broke a 110 race winless streak and finally got that win from RFK. So I just want to say thank God that finally happened, guys, even though I'm sure Reddick and Busher fans are not going to be too happy. But this throwback is really cool, dude. I mean, it's not like, I don't know, a lot of people are like, oh, this ain't no KSC Atwood throwback. What is this? Well, if you guys are familiar with with this very famous Toyota Supra, also nicknamed the Castrol Tom Supra. Anybody who probably does not know what I'm talking about, if you are a big fan of homage, you probably are going to be familiar with this. But this is the good old Tachi-Owa Motorsport late Toyota Supra that was ran in the late 1990s. And dude, let me just tell you what, this is a sick paint scheme. I mean, you got like, this is pretty much an exact carbon copy of what the actual car looks like. Well, not only in Victory Lane, but of what the Toyota Supra looked like from the late 1990s. So thought that was pretty cool to actually showcase that. You know, this is actually, I mean, Tachi-Owa Motorsport is just a nickname for Tom's, if you guys are wondering. So that's why it's called the Tom's Castrol Toyota Supra. So you probably have seen this probably at a Hot Wheels provider, but heck, it would be a cool diecast to actually do a comparison to. So I probably strongly encourage you guys check this one out, because not only the standard version is available, but the race winning car as well. You're going to have all the fine details that I'm sure the Lionel racing artists have done a really good job with how these diecasts look. Every little piece of confetti that you see on that car, guess what? It is going to be on the diecast in the small scale or the big scale. But thought that was pretty cool to showcase. But we also now got to talk about another driver who is quite familiar with winning at Darlington, and for the third time, I believe, so far in these last few years, Justin Allgaier was able to go and get the victory. As you guys already see, I'm already talking about all the win diecasts. I guess you could say this is almost like a diecast news episode if you really want to think of it like that, but with more personality. But this is the number 7 Brandt car that we all know and love, but this is actually a Darlington throwback to, well, the starting of Brandt Services, which was actually a fertilizer service back then. If you guys aren't aware, Brandt is a longtime sponsor for Justin Allgaier, and they've been with him, like I've said, for majority of his career, and see that they always get creative with these throwbacks. I know some people don't really want to count this as a throwback, because this is a throwback to when the company first started, in the early 1950s, I think 53 or so. So shout out to anybody actually who has used Brandt's services in the past. So hope you guys are ready for some more Hellman's mayonnaise, because guess what? This next one I'm about to show you, it is actually, well, it's a Brandon Jones throwback, and I'm sure all the Dale Jr. fans out there are going to be like, whoa, this looks pretty familiar. I don't remember seeing Menards, but this looks very similar to, guess what, guys? Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jr.'s Richmond car from 2018. And I know a lot of people are probably wondering, why the hell are they doing a throwback on something from 2018? Well, I mean, hard to believe. I mean, that was almost like, what, like, if I know how to do my math right, 6 years ago. So, seems pretty recent, but I understand why they did that. I mean, of course, I think the only reason why they probably put this type of sponsor on the car or paint scheme, because not only because of the boss, but you got the yellow from the Hellman's Mayonnaise. Menards cars are usually yellow, so it makes sense. Definitely weird, but I like that they added even the little texture where the number is. So I would say this is pretty accurate to what the real car is, but I don't know, it definitely is random to say the least, but we'll see. I mean, usually when I showcase all these Junior Motorsports diecasts, a good majority of them have been canceled, but the saving grace has been the NASCAR Authentics retail line. But coming into that, we got, of course, the other Junior Motorsports driver, driver number 8 of the TMC Chevrolet Camaro, and it is good old Sammy Smith, guys. But this one's really cool because not only they are based in Iowa, but this paint scheme is based off for anybody who's a big sprint car fan, you're probably going to like this. But if you guys remember back in like the late 70s and early 1980s, there was this guy known as Mike Brooks, which I guess was really good friends with the guy who actually owned and created TMC. So, but let's just say Mike Brooks was actually pretty well, he's a pretty well-known sprint car driver, especially at the Knoxville Nationals, and he actually drove this really cool and might almost look very familiar to a paint scheme that Michael Innett actually drove from years ago. But this is the Macau Sprinter. So if anybody who's familiar with that term, then you guys probably know what I'm saying. But this is pretty much an exact carbon copy of this. I mean, it almost looks like it has like a matte finish, but I like the added detail of the 8 and the TMC logo. It's got like the little rivets or the pieces of like, I don't know, like sheet metal rivets or whatever that texture is that we kind of see in the past. Like, I don't know, I'm thinking of like the Kyle Busch freaking Eminem's car from like 2010. Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, again, I'm a little nervous that it's probably going to get canceled, but heck, we only have like a good 2 weeks left, I think. Usually poll time for these cars to get produced is like 2 to 3 weeks. We're already in week 1, I think, if I remember correctly. So we gotta go on the A-ball for this, man. But I didn't realize I put a pun right there. But I thought that was pretty cool. But carry into more Xfinity throwbacks. Don't worry, we're gonna get to the Cup Series soon. I promise y'all. This one is really cool. So if anybody remember, well, if you look at Cole Custer's car, it might kind of ring a bell to a lot of people. This is supposed to be a daunted throwback to Johnny Sauter's 2006 yellow car. Well, no, the car's not actual yellow. It's orange, but that's the name of I guess, a trucking transportation company that's no longer around. So definitely is pretty interesting. But I will say, I mean, anybody who's a big Cincinnati Bengals fan, you're probably going to like this because it definitely shows the colors that well. A very unique paint scheme, to say at the least. We have not really seen like a tiger scheme like this in quite a while, but I love what Haas did. They kind of made like, I mean, Haas has always done a good job when it comes to throwbacks. I like how they try to make the Haas logo look like the yellow transportation logos, so really cool, dude. And it looks like that, plus it's appropriate to do a throwback in this because it's a double zero. Even though one's on a Chevrolet and this one's on a Ford, but I don't really care about that in terms of manufacturers. Definitely a good effort right here. Probably one of my favorite throwbacks that we got so far for the Xfinity series this year. And now we got to get on to something that might look quite terrible to some people. I know, a bad joke. This is going to be his teammate, Riley Herbst, guys. We actually have a Riley Herbst diecast that's available for pre-order. And why am I making a big deal about this? Because, well, if you guys know Monster Energy, we can't really have cars produced because they have a very strict licensing rights when it comes to merchandise. So, and they're still a big sponsor of the sport. I mean, how many times have you seen the Monster Energy girls on TV during the NASCAR broadcast? Exactly. So, it's a weird partnership, but this is really cool that we actually have an opportunity to get a Riley Herbst car, since, you know, we mostly get Cole Custer diecasts, which we are guaranteed to get that Andy's Custard car, so that's going to be great to hear. But this one, I'm pretty cool, but this is actually supposed to be a daunted throwback to the terrible Herbst Motorsports off-road truck. And anybody who's a big fan of off-road truck racing, you know that this this is probably the main reason why, you know, the Herbst family is so popular, because, heck, when you saw that big red truck, and I'm not talking about the fire trucks, damn it, I'm talking about what this paint scheme is supposed to do a throwback to, which is pretty cool. You know, we kind of saw Jimmy Johnson do something like this with the off-road trucks, like I think about like a few years ago. Remember that nice, cool paint scheme that we had with the with the orange and white accents and the purple background. So pretty cool that they're kind of going back to that. And I mean, I'm a big sucker for the color red, so heck, this would be pretty cool. Plus, like I said, it's been a while since we've had a 98 diecast produced in the 1/64 scale for the Xfinity series. But probably getting on to the next one, guys, with another 90 number. This one is very interesting because if you guys know, I've been a longtime sponsor and partner with Circle B Diecast. They've been a great provider to get diecast deals from and all sorts of stuff like that. Well, let's just say Josh Bilicki did a throwback to Circle B, Plan B cells. That's what they were called first before they had Circle B Diecast. From 2014, that was the first time that they sponsored an official NASCAR stock car, which was at the Loudon race, driven by Justin Allgaier. So I found that pretty cool. I love how they even got the Brandt logos on this, which I thought was interesting because usually Brandt is not really associated with anyone besides Justin Allgaier, but they probably saw this and hey, I mean, it's a throwback to Allgaier, so technically it's still getting a name for itself. But yeah, this is really cool. But again, it just looks so interesting that we go from Plan B sales to Circle B Diecast, which if you guys wonder what the main difference of that is, one is a retail store, one is basically a warehouse store where they ship out all the cars. So that's what we got to say right there. But good people, definitely love the Brent and the Powell family for all they've done in the diecast community, and hoping this one's gonna be guaranteed to be made because Circle B Diecast usually buys a lot of their cars, but a Josh Bilicki throwback, dude, and heck, yeah, this is pretty cool. I almost got a little, I almost thought that was like Josh Williams for a second, but I remember he drove the 92 last year, so a lot of Joshes, damn it. And probably the last car to wrap up right here when it comes to the Xfinity cars. Probably save the best for last, but it's our boy SVG Shane Van Gisbergen. Make sure to tell Jeff Burton how that's pronunciated from now on. This is number 97 quad lock Chevrolet Camaro for Calling Racing. But as you guys know, I mean, this is pretty cool because anybody who is a big Kiwi fan, no, I'm not talking about the dang fruit. I'm talking about the freaking Australians and New Zealanders. You know who a Shane Van Gisbergen is, but this paint scheme might look very familiar for any fans out there that were a NASCAR fan in like the year 2010. If you guys remember, one of the craziest finish in 2012 at Watkins Glen, it came down between Brad Keselowski, unironically, and Marcus Ambrose. This is a Marcus Ambrose throwback. As you can see, I lost my English there for a second. This is really cool. They got the actual paint scheme. The quad lock logo looks almost like the Stanley logo, which ironically both have to do with locks. I mean, last time I checked, Stanley is a tool company, and they probably have locks. And they even got the freaking font to change to that Petty number 9, which I thought was really awesome. Man, it's really hard to decide which Xfinity throwback is my favorite. So if I had to pick or choose, man, between the Cole Custer one or the Shane Van Gisbergen, man, that's really hard. But since, a Kiwi supporting and tributing another Kiwi, I got to go with Shane Van Gisbergen's. This is my favorite throwback for the Xfinity series. But getting on to that now, man, I think it's only just now matter of time to now switch things up and now get on to probably what is probably a really cool diecast that I really am excited to hopefully. Actually, I got this car on pre-order, but it's a Trackhouse Racing diecast for Daniel Suarez. And if you guys aren't aware, Daniel Suarez did a throwback to another Mexican native, so kind of like what SVG did. This is on Adrian Fernandez, his Quaker State car that I believe he drove in the early days of what was known, now known as IndyCar, but before then was known as Champ Car and also the IRL. If you guys want to know more information about that, check out the split. I mean, definitely is some interesting stuff since we're in the month of May. But perfect timing for this car to actually get produced. This came out actually, I think, like a few days after the Darlington race, so that's probably why I decided to wait a little longer because, heck, there were some licensing rights that they had to get acquired, but I'm glad they did this, man. I'm always a sucker when it comes to, having NASCAR and IndyCar diecast together. This right here, I'm looking forward to. I'm a little nervous because usually the Quaker State diecast always DMP, which means they don't produce. We had last year's, Quaker State car, which was a really cool throwback, which was a NASCAR stock car throwback. But Adrian Fernandez, dude, I mean, I think the reason why they did this because it's supposed to be, I think the 20th anniversary when he got those 2 wins at IRL, which for any NASCAR fans out there, you might know Adrian Fernandez because of those 2 IRL wins. He was able to actually go and race in a few select races in the NASCAR Busch Series at the time in the number 5 Lowe's car. So that kind of fills that gap right there of how NASCAR fans know about Adrian Fernandez, but thought that was pretty interesting. Speaking of another 20th anniversary car, well, more of like a truck. Yeah, we do have some truck diecasts that are now available for pre-order from Lionel Racing and Spoiler Diecast. And this is really cool because this is another truck that has been a winner before. And while it's not really considered a throwback, I think it still is pretty cool because if you guys remember this guy winning early on this year, Nick Sanchez, he is doing a Dawn to throwback to basically the 20th anniversary of Rev Racing, which you guys know that is the team that is using the term for Drive for Diversity, which of course we've seen so many accomplishments from that organization, as you've seen, these rising stars and current stars right now with Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace and Daniel Suarez, and you can see it's already kind of filling in the gap right now with Rajah Caruth and Nick Sanchez. So let me tell you what, dude, this is a really cool, very simple throwback, even though it's basically just a black truck with the red and whites of the accents of the Rev Racing logo. But I do like that they also added a throwback number 2 as well, which I thought looks pretty cool. I don't know, kind of getting like the old days of like Mike Wallace and all the good memories that we had with the number 2 truck in the truck series. But yeah, I mean, it definitely is simple. I mean, probably would have been a truck that was going to win, but heck, that's going to lead into the next guy right here, which is Ross Chastain. Well, yeah, we do have his truck win, but I'm not really going to talk about this truck as much because it's not really a throwback, but it is there if you guys actually are curious and want to, pre-order it. But we're here to talk about throwbacks, guys, and yeah, that leads into Ross Chastain's throwback for this year, which is actually a little disappointing. I mean, the last 2 years have been absolutely insane, but of course we had, the Busch Light sponsorship moving over to Ross Chastain this year, which has been a popular hit. And what do we got? Well, we got a throwback to the 2000s cans. So anybody who was a big fan of probably the Busch series back then, you probably saw a lot of commercials of this. So I know people don't really like the company throwbacks. It's a lot like Justin Allgaier's throwback from earlier in this video. But it's going to be cool to have the foil number. I mean, it is a cool looking paint scheme. Some people actually probably want to confirm that this is what the paint scheme should be. But I don't know, we should probably get that in the debates down below if you guys prefer the throwback scheme or the current Busch scheme that we got. There's even a Busch Croc scheme too. I mean, heck, it just shows you they're getting pretty creative with these paint schemes. But speaking of another diecast that's going to be pretty creative and almost pretty memorable, you remember Lane Riggs? I mean, doesn't that last name kind of ring a bell? Well, it probably should, because this guy is actually doing a throwback to his father, Scott Riggs. Yes, the one and only Scott Riggs. We've probably seen him from, the early days in the NASCAR Busch Series, and also in the NASCAR, what was known as Winston Cup Series, but the Nextel Cup Series, driving that number 10 Valvoline car. But no, this is actually, believe it or not, anybody who is a big fan of the RC Cola truck that Stacey Compton usually drove in the early days when the Camping World truck, what was known as the Craftsman Truck Series at the time, which ironically is. Gotta love the name changes though. But yeah, Scott Riggs was actually able to drive this car, truck, but you know what I mean, in the year 2000. And I like that they actually even put like the fonts and the logos, even in the IC, it almost looks pretty similar to RC, but it's down right to the smallest details. And that's something I like. So, yeah, let's get the ball rolling, guys. I mean, I'm sure the Love's RV Stop logo does look very distracting. To be honest with you, a Publix logo would look nice on there, but it is what it is, though. But they did a really good job as well. By the way, shout out to Circuit B Diecast, who's also on this truck. So pretty cool for Front Row to give this truck a nice little RC Cola look. I love it, dude. And speaking of that, this is another truck that I'm about to show for anybody who is a big fan of the Petty Motorsports or Penny Enterprises, because, well, if you guys have already followed the Daily Downforce, they have offered this car before, but Lionel has it up for pre-order now. It's a Thad Moffitt truck, which is pretty cool because you guys know he's now with the Faction 46 team, which is a new team that just started, which of course many NASCAR YouTubers, including Eric Estep, knows. I mean, I think they actually helped fund that team, which is really awesome. So wishing the best of luck for Thad Moffitt. But this is a Dawn's a Throwback, guys. A Dawn's a Throwback to remember the 25th anniversary card that the Petty Enterprises team drove. I think like in the year 1996. I think. Well, let me tell you what, dude. Bobby Hamilton was the guy who drove this car, and it was interesting to say the least. I mean, you do got the the classic Petty colors, but since this is the 75th anniversary, they said, hey, what the hell? Let's bring back let's bring back the 25th anniversary scheme that came out in 1996. So I thought that's pretty cool. You guys know, I mean, Thad Moffitt is not related to Brett Moffitt. He's actually has some bloodline with the Petty family. So. But pretty is nice. The only thing that probably would make this a lot more nicer is a blue chassis. I know NASCAR can't mandate that, but heck, I would love if we have some color chassis diecast back, because it would definitely give us some creativity. Plus, you gotta have all those names down there on the truck of the bed, so if your name is on there or you signed for it, then congratulations. Probably this diecast is going to be guaranteed to made just because of that. But hey, man, that is really cool. So go on to get this at Lionel Racing, spoil the diecast, or the Daily Downforce. As that gets on down to the trucks. But now I think we should shift into some of the racing routes that we got for a few NASCAR drivers. So I hope you guys are ready for the razzle and dazzle on this next one, as I am probably now going to have to shoot myself in the head with a body armor after this video, because that was really stupid of me to say. But this is Corey LaJoie's Dawn's Throwback, which of course, as you guys can see, this is a Dawn's Throwback to, well, kind of recent. I mean, we're going back to the early days of Corey LaJoie. This was his first win that he got in 2012 when he drove in the ARCA East, or the ARCA Menards East Series, at Bowman Gray Stadium. So I know that this paint scheme might look pretty I don't know, it kind of looks like a Chili's, it looks like remember that Chili's car that he drove at the 500? I'm kind of getting some vibes from that a little bit from this, just because of the colors. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the throwback, I mean, the colors aren't really there. I mean, it's a lot more, I get what they were trying to do, but just probably my least favorite throwback by far, because, well, while it's cool, they do have the number 7 there, and they try to work with what they got, but you definitely tell the sponsor had to say, and okay, we have to have our colors looking like this. It's unfortunate. If they painted it all black, like Rolling Stones, I think that'd be pretty nice. But yeah, definitely not my favorite one, but it's a good meaning behind it. And heck, it's probably the only time we saw Corey LaJoie actually win a race. Keep asking myself, why is he in the Cup Series? But maybe this win was so popular, I guess. But he's also the son of Randy LaJoie, if you guys aren't aware, too. But this next one is pretty interesting, because I kind of like the creativity behind this, guys. This is on Todd Gilliland's Dawn's Throwback, is going to be on his 2015 debut win. Not only for Todd Gilliland, but also for a series that we're starting to get pretty familiar with, because Lionel Racing has actually made diecast molds of this, which I have reviewed them on the Cars Late Model Stock Car Tour. And yeah, I said debut because not only Todd Gilliland wanted this car, I think it was the first race ever that came out of this new touring series for the late models. For the late model stock cars. So heck, this is really nice, dude. They were, I mean, personally, in my opinion, all right, judging by what this car looks like to the actual car, I think the throwback looks a lot better, dude. I love the creativity with the generator logo, and you got the lightning bolt in the front. I mean, they found a way to make it look even better. And look, you even see the little G right there by the 38, which I'm sure you guys probably didn't know, but that's a nice detail, especially for any late model fans out there. Man, this is how you do a throwback, man. I mean, I can't believe this throwback looks a lot better than what the actual car is. Man, from Row Motorsports, man, I think they're pretty underrated when it comes to some of the throwbacks, but both 38 cars and the truck have been I probably two I'm going to have to pre-order. But we got to talk about one more late model driver, which I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to get this, if it actually will get made, considering we don't know what the future is going to be hold for this for this car or this driver and this team as well. Ryan Preece. So probably going to be your one only time you're going to actually have to get a Dawn's Throwback of this car, because like I said, we have no idea what's going to happen with this charter next year. But this is supposed to represent, as you guys know, Ryan Preece. I mean, he is pretty much well known for running well at short tracks. But we're to tell you that this guy was the 2013 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Champion. He also drove this in 2014, but this man knew how to race in the Whelen Modified Series. But this is pretty much a carbon exact copy, well, sort of, kind of the champion truck, the champion of the 2013 champion for the Whelen Modified Series. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of accurate, but like I see the meaning behind it, but a little nervous because usually the Ryan Preece late model car, it's cool and all, but I don't know. I think I'm just a little nervous that's probably good to not really make MOQ, but we'll see what happens. So, get on to that, man. We have to talk about now another driver who probably is not going to really know what their future is going to be holding for, but this is definitely a good time to probably pre-order Harrison Burton's Dex Imaging Ford Mustang Dawn's a Throwback, which is a Dawn's Throwback to we're going back to the early days of the Wood Brothers Racing team. Like, this is when the team first actually started in NASCAR, because NASCAR was founded around that time as well. If you guys remember the great Leonard Wood, he ran this is actually nicknamed the Leonard Wood Special from 1953. So this is really cool. It's very basic. It's like basically a chalkboard car, but you got like the freaking Throwback 21, and you got Dex Imaging. Pretty much has the exact wording of what this car looks like, but the fine little details has to go with the little dirt marks that they actually have on the side, which I think is pretty cool because you guys know that's kind of basically how NASCAR found its roost, especially at Daytona. So, but I mean, yeah, this is why I like throwbacks like this, because it's simple. And it really just, I guess you could say, it's really going to get you out on the decks. But for real, man, this is a really cool throwback, man. I really do like this throwback that we got, the Leonard Wood Special. I think Glenwood also drove this as well, if I'm not mistaken, in another car. But now, I think we probably now get on to probably some of the best ones, but this one in particular is not really the best. Almost had a good execution, but I've seen a lot more better versions of this. But Austin Dillon's throwback for this year, almost perfect, except for one thing. Where the hell is the black number? Like, there is no black number. It's white for some freaking reason. In terms of like the aspects of like, I don't know how it looks a lot more better. I will say that. But it's not accurate. It's not at all, man. I mean, this is supposed to represent Dale Sr.'s 1998 or 1999 All-Star car, which unfortunately, if you have not seen that race yet, guys, probably one of the craziest All-Star finishes that we've had. Dale Sr. was about to win that race, and then Kyle Petty, I guess, I don't know, like got him air loose, and he spun out. And then Kyle Petty also tried to take out freaking the freaking 28 Avalon car. So, dude, it was just it was insane. It was an insane all-star race. That's all I'm gonna say. But the execution on this, I don't know why the white number, but I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but just how, I mean, dude, the late models were able. Dale Jr. was able to actually do a perfect late model of this, and RCR wanted a white number 3. I don't get it, but it looks nice, but I'm a nitpicker, man. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I can't be the only one that does not think that kind of bugs me. But now I think we got to talk about the Final Four. And no, I'm not talking about the playoff standings. Probably, I would say, the best 4 for last. And it's on good old Mr. H, Hendrick Motorsports, the team that we're probably going to be talking about a lot in these next weeks or so with IndyCar and NASCAR, since one of their drivers, we will be talking about him pretty soon, but the most popular driver in NASCAR, Chase Elliott. This is a Dawn's a Throwback, which is actually the first Dawn's a Throwback that came out for this year. Doing a throwback to, ironically, I can't believe that this thing is already 10 years old now. Dale Jr.'s 2014 Daytona 500 win, his second one in his career, second and final. But wow, let me tell you what, this was something that is already making me feel old. This is a really cool looking diecast. I mean, the Universe was actually able to put the American flag on this car. I don't really think they really have that. I mean, I know it is as you see, Uni First, I mean, that stands for United, so United States of America. But of course, we can't have the National Guard logo on here, but I like that they were able to put the American flag right there. It looks really nice. And of course, the gold number 9 looks awesome as well. Just, I know this is a very popular throwback, to say the least, man. I mean, they even got the black back on the bumper, because Dale Jr. always had black bumpers. Just, Wow, man. I think this is going to have like a metallic finish on the blue as well, and also on the gold. Surprisingly, I don't really see, they don't have like the added detail on the number, but there's also going to be a 2-pack set of this. So if you guys are really excited about that, I'm kind of curious what that 2014 car is going to look like, because, you know, we've had some bad molds in the past. Remember the WLS mold? You thought the PTC mold was bad. Oh, Lord, that's what the 2014 car was made. So maybe Lionel did that just for a little, I don't know, piece of offering. But of course, it is missing some logos. I mean, we don't have the Mountain Dew logo anymore, but heck, Kelly Blue Book's still there, so. But speaking of that, dude, talking about another Don's throwback that I think almost got it right, and ironically, this is a car I already talked about on the Jeff Gordon Fan Club 2024 car. The Firestorm car returns for William Byron. Well, first time he's driving this, but yeah, the Firestorm car, it didn't take that long. This is supposed to represent Jeff Gordon's 2009, judging by the render, that's what it's supposed to look like, his DuPont Firestorm car, but what the car actually looked like on the track is a lot more different. It has a lot less orange and more like a yellow and red front end, which almost looks very similar to his 2011 car. So I know this has like a whole debacle going around of like what's accurate or not. Personally, I mean, I'm a little nervous what the gradient's gonna look like, and the back bumper just being all black is pretty basic. I mean, this is probably the Hendrick Motorsports scheme that I'm not too excited about, considering, you know, the last 2 years we've had really cool Hendrick Motorsports. Well, actually, this guy probably has been just on a roll at Darlington, guys. Won the Darlington race last year and nearly won it in 2022 due to unfortunate circumstances. Thank you, Logano. But now we got to talk about another driver that I think, man, he probably could have had a shot at winning in this car, guys, because this car is all know about winning. This is Alex Bowman, still trying to get that win for Mr. H. You know, winless in 2023, but now in 2024, bringing on the Jimmie Johnson ride, guys. The car that's pretty much catapulted this guy's career into championship status from 2002 all the way to 2005. We got this beauty right here, the Jimmie Johnson Lowe's car, and Ally absolutely knocked it out of the ballpark again, man. I mean, if any of you guys picked up the 2018, I guess what, the Homestead Final Ride car, this probably could be a better version, because we know all those stupid Snapchat logos on the cars. Remember that? Good Lord. Talk about cringe. But really happy that Ally was actually able to recreate one of this iconic paint schemes. Probably should pick this diecast up, because I really would love to do a review on this paint scheme, but I think I probably saved the best one for last, and in my opinion, the best Don's throwback in this preview video for the Don's throwback diecast. I mean, we already know what it's going to be. It's Young Money. Kyle Larson did a Don's throwback to the 1996 champion, if I'm not mistaken, of Terralabani. Dude, this is really cool. The HendrickCars.com Kellogg's paint scheme. This is something that I've been waiting for just God knows how long, and they finally did it. This is the one. I mean, and if you look pretty closely, that number 5 is pretty close to almost center. So probably the closest thing we're ever going to get to a center number. But the amount of space that was utilized on this paint scheme is gorgeous. I know a lot of people would love to see colored side skirts or rocker arms or rocker panels, whatever they're called, but Chevrolet just does not allow that. But the amount of effort they put on this is a lot better than, I guess you could say, what the 40th anniversary Hendrick Motorsports diecasts that are available for Wave 2 of NASCAR Authentics. This right here blows it out of the water in terms of effort. They put effort into this compared to those other cars from Lionel. Man, and talk about like a good scene of a good seat of scenery for Kyle Larson, dude. That was really cool that him and Terralabani were, you know, in matching suits for this race. So they definitely stole the show for that. But since all these diecasts I showed you guys are really cool, we can't end the video without one more thing, and that is a Hendrick Motorsports 4-pack set. Yes, another one of these is going to be available, and I'm sure this is going to be a hot seller. Probably will be released in a future NASCAR Authentics video as well, because heck, that's just how it is. This team, it sells whether you love them or hate them. Heck, this is gonna be another cool Don throwback set to get, but I was hoping to make this video a little bit less longer than usual, but hopefully you guys are liking these types of preview videos. Maybe I'll do one for the patriotic cars if you guys want me to, because heck, you know, we love talking about NASCAR diecast, and maybe having videos like this instead of trashing Lionel could actually be a good thing, so we get more diecast out on the pre-orders and get these suckers made, dude, because don't want to miss out on all these cars. So shout out to Lionel Racing, Circle B Diecast, Spoiler Diecast, order all these cars at those various websites. And until we meet again, guys, this has been OBB, the Diecast News Guy. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys back in the reviewing station.